Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ubuntu Touch Q&A number 167. Um, yeah, and we are here live as every, I don't know, other week. And today a little bit different setup. So I cannot say joining me is Apply because I'm joining him basically. So um, with me here this evening, the wonderful Apply in a unexpected situation. So also please excuse his Wi-Fi. It has some lag sometimes. And
Yeah,
yeah,
sorry for that.
maybe
And to
later on
explain a
other
bit,
people will join. Yeah, please explain first.
yeah, okay, I have the lag, so it's a bit weird. But yeah, to explain a bit the situation, I'm currently in Germany for the Vola Community Days. So today was the first day, and it was pretty fun, and we met a lot of people.
Nice,
And
nice.
hopefully tomorrow will be also a good get together and meet like-minded people avid for privacy and free open source software. So yeah, it should be good.
Super. So are you also the speaker for UB boards, or is somebody else
Yes,
doing that?
I did a presentation with
Mm-hmm.
Ricardo this morning.
With
So
Ricardo.
we
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
introduced UB ports and the latest developments as well.
Was there any nice announcement that I don't know, some secret announcement that only be made on these days, or are you waiting for them tomorrow? Or
Actually, I gathered
actually,
some kind of information from Vola.
mm-hmm,
Um, so first of all, they have been working on AGPS, so assisted GPS,
mm,
which is
mm-hmm,
lacking on Ubuntu Touch, and they have been working on their devices to allow this. Hopefully, we can reuse it for other devices as well. And they are also working on a mainline version of Ubuntu Touch for the Vola devices. So quite exciting news in my opinion.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, that's nice. So, congratulations to Waller. Actually, they made it from a rough idea in the beginning um, to now already the third generation or fourth generation device. And that's something in the mobile industry because you need a lot of tenure and push through a lot of obstacles to get those devices made. And you have an insane speed with the developments of Google and Android if you want to follow there. And also in the hardware side, it's not easy to keep everything updated when basically a lot of vendors producing throwaway hardware that is really not able to be repaired and has other issues. And 2 years later, everything is again changed, maybe. And then let's remember that their primary hardware vendor um, was going basically out of, or was in danger of going out of business at some point. So I'm just remembering now Alcatel, but it's stupid. It's the former Siemens fork,
Yasset.
Gigaset, exactly. So Gigaset had a huge problem financially, and I don't know how they recovered this now, but basically it seems they can still produce phones. And as a small company, depending fully on one hardware vendor, it can be very bad very quickly. Yeah. So I'm really happy that they survived all these troubles in the last years and still heading and going strong.
Yeah.
Thanks to Ola. Good. So why I'm here? First of all, somebody asked me to be here, of course. I wasn't here for quite some time. For all the people that don't know me, I am Flowhack. And here since the beginning of Ubuntu Touch, and not so much here anymore, but from time to time I enjoy jumping on a live stream, of course. It's always nice. Always nice to see and
We
hear from
enjoy your
people. And
singing.
thanks. I'm also mostly doing stuff for teleports, but that's not the reason today why I'm here. Should we start with news stuff? Do we want to go
Yeah.
through the list like it is here, or I don't know how we do this nowadays?
Um, I'm trying to find
Or I
my
can just
note
steal the
because
topic first and you can go next. So
yeah, yeah. So first we can, if you have some highlights in the list of
yeah,
merge
I have.
requests that happened.
Well, actually, it's not in the list of merge requests, maybe because that one is the one
Oh,
from GitLab. And that probably is not gonna show what we did on GitHub still, yeah, because we found a dark corner in GitHub that has still active repositories of view reports. They shouldn't even be there. But what I found was, so the story started a few days ago that I was annoyed by the, I don't know, 20th security alert in my GitHub inbox, which turned out to be in the installer area. So installer has a few repositories. And then I said, okay, enough is enough. Now we have to upgrade these high severity vulnerabilities with Node.js and blah, blah, blah in the installer and just to repair the repository, which immediately broke everything. And then I came to the installer group and said, hey guys, we should fix this and that. And actually, we came to a conclusion we need to make a release because the last release of the installer is more than 2 years ago. First of all, because of security reasons, a lot of those things in this Electron and Node.js package were out of date. And then also because a few things were repaired maybe. And so spontaneously, the installer group came to life and it was really busy for 2 days or so to repair everything, prepare a release. Now we released it already, basically as of today morning. There is the 0.11 version of the installer on the GitHub page to be downloaded, or you want to have the snap from the Snap Store. We updated everything. Now also app image is working again. There were some reports that app image was not working with the last release. We have also repaired a small thing with KDE based distros that had a dependency issue. Seems to work fine. Then we also disabled the error reporting to OpenCuts because OpenCuts is now down for quite a long time. So there is no annoying pop-up, hopefully, telling you that something went wrong when it was reporting the status to OpenCuts. And so this is a maintenance release, more or less, with small fixes. But I think there is still much more potential with the installer now. So first of all, I always said, and this is really, really my deepest promise here, we need to help the installer be as stable as possible and as good as possible because it's the entry door to UBports and Ubuntu Touch. If a person that wants to install on their mobile phone any of the supported mobile phones wants to install Ubuntu Touch and it fails, they won't come back. They won't try 5 times. They won't try 10 times. They won't wait 2 weeks and try again. They won't wait for the next installer release. If it fails to install, they will be disappointed and just go away. Yeah, so we lose a lot of users and interested folks by just having an unstable installer, and that should never happen. So we need to invest as much as we can into an installer that tries to install the darn thing however. Yeah, and if it's casting some arcane magic or unholy spirits, it's okay. Yeah, but just put the operating system on that phone and have a happy user. So at the end, this thing was written in Electron because you can do cross-platform stuff. It's Linux, Mac, and PC, Windows, Mac, and Linux. The idea was to have people that have no Linux at home, no knowledge about how to flash a phone, to be able to install on their phone. And it worked out quite well because we had a lot of people using this on Windows. We have a few people using it on Mac. And then also across all the Linux distributions with the deb package and the app image and so on, I think we had the good idea from the beginning. So we need a cross-platform installer that looks and behaves the same on all the operating systems. However, Electron and Node and JavaScript is hard to maintain thing. It's also a bit bloated. The installer is not very fast. It takes time to load. The current one raises a security warning on Windows that it's unsigned and it's potentially malware and blah, blah, blah. So there is problems. Yeah? Now the idea is, and also because we have not so many developers that feel 100% confident with JavaScript and Electron stuff, the idea is try to spin up a new code base for the installer, which would basically mean that we try to go to something which is a bit more peaceful and still cross-platform, and that would be Qt. Yeah? So we can solve the same problem for the installer with Qt and QML because it's also cross-platform. And so I think it's worth to explore that idea to see how far can we go with that. Can we rewrite the installer to have the same features, to have the same stability, even more stability maybe, and to solve a few problems for us for distributing it, but for maintenance, but also for the user experience. Yeah? And that's on the table now. So people discussing now in the installer group if and how we can do this and how we can plan this out. Also, it's about supporting different subflavors. For example, for Mac, the problem is now that it goes more and more into 64-bit direction. We don't have Android binaries in 64-bit shipped currently. So still some of the operating system combinations cannot use the installer. The idea is also to support those machines as much as possible. Also maybe ARM 64 and so on and so on. There is a lot of things that we can do. Everything that we do and that makes installation more easy is a potential user and community member more that we can add to the UBBirds community. To answer the question from the chat, yes, Qt with C and C++, of course. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. I think most people that want to contribute in a Linux community project like Ubuntu Touch are fine with having C, C++ base with Qt. There are, of course, a few challenges, especially how we call the ADB and fastboot binaries, how to exchange the data with them. But this is all solved in some way. That's also, we're not the first ones doing that. So while we keep the installer in the current version alive for quite some time, in the background we will start building a new installer. Let's see how far we can go. So that's the big news, and I think that's really great.
Yeah, of course.
I think, and there's a second thing. And then some time ago, we had a request from, I think it was Sailfish guys, if they can use the installer to flash their phones. And why this is interesting is because they said they want to use the installer, but they want to rebrand it so it's not called UBBirds installer, but something else installer. And now we said, okay, it's nice, everybody knows the UBBirds installer, but if we want to have even more people maybe contributing and extending this thing to install almost anything on any device, we have to make it a bit more neutral. It's the same what we did with moving all the code or renaming namespaces from Ubuntu and UT to something else, and that's the reason also why Lumiri is called Lumiri and so on. We wanted to be compatible with Debian and with other distros, and we could do the same with the installer. So maybe the installer will be called, I don't know, Papillon, for example. Yeah, you would love it. Yeah, I'm using Papillon to install my phone. Oh la la, très bien. But my French is so bad. But the idea is really that to say,
at least it's funny.
Merci. In the end, it would be great to have something installer that can install, I don't know, a new firmware on your toaster at the end. Because what the ultimate thing is, the installer is used on a PC to transfer a firmware into a portable device or whatever device. Yeah. So let's make a huge installer project out of it. And of course, we are shooting a moon rocket now and say, if we go into the community, we make it more neutral. It will be just another open source project as many. We will maintain it. We will accept, of course, improvements, pull request stuff. We expect that we get more contributions and better quality out of that thing. And there are, of course, already projects that want to use it. So for Sailfish, the communication then stopped at some point. I don't know. We could revive it. But for example, Postmarket wants to use it or could use it very well. The installer also can flash alternatives to Android. You can flash Lineage OS to a device with it. Yeah, it's not bound to a specific Ubuntu Touch thingy. We can really flash a lot with that. So let's install the whole world. No, why we shouldn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's my
Should be
news.
great.
I hope everybody enjoys that. Yeah, get some traction again in that area, and I think I could have fun watching this and also contributing what I can. And
Yeah.
although I cannot do so much as we did in the last 6 to 7 years. Oh my God, we have 2025. It's already
2025,
8
yes.
or yeah, it's around 8 years already. Jeez. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's what will happen, hopefully.
Yeah.
So
on the GitLab front, I browse a bit the link that we can share, for example. Let's share the link where we take our, I think I put it here. Yes, this one. This is the link you can follow to see the recent merge requests and the status of the development for Ubuntu Touch. In the last couple of weeks, not a lot happened, but it's all behind the scenes stuff mostly. There are some device-specific merge that happened. Some stuff with Mir 2.20.2, so that's good on this front. Some biometry D service update as well. Yeah, something about Nix support. I don't know a lot about this, but something tells me that it might be interesting in the future. And yeah, I saw also some modification or maybe fixes on the disk encryption that Alfred was working on. So maybe some improvement on this front. So yeah, not a lot of commits, but yeah, at least it's still progress. And I don't want to say too much right now because there is a relevant question for later. So
yeah,
let's call it for tonight for the news.
By the way, if you're communicating with us via the chat on YouTube, we gonna take questions when they fit, or we take them at the end when we are in the questions section. So fear not, we have seen the question here, and we will come back to it. Except that we forget, but yeah, then put it on the next Q&A. Back then in the times when we had really long Q&As and we had a ton of questions, it was always either we rush through the questions, but then somebody started to explain and just overshoot the time frame, yeah. And then in the background, the discussion, what the people didn't see on the live stream was, come on, why is he talking so much? We have another 5 to 6 questions. Oh, we have to cut out. Which questions do we cut out? Do we cut out that question? That sounds really, really not interesting. Okay, let's just drop it. Let's put it on the next Q&A. Maybe even saying people, okay, your answer was not answered. Your question was not answered. We put it on the next Q&A, only to forget to put it forward in the show notes. Okay, so bear with us, but these times are not so stressful these days. So yeah, we have enough time to answer all the questions that
we can manage. So yeah,
um,
let's move on to the next category, which is basically it's the new applications on the OpenStore. So let me share my screen and okay. So there is a new application this time. This is called uWolf. Okay, I see that my screen is lagging.
that's very interesting because I
uWolf
just
is
yeah I just wanted
is
to say
a
I just saw it popping up in some discussion and I was immediately thinking, oh wow, what do we have here? Yeah. And I normally just press the read button on all the messages on Telegram, but in this case, I just stumbled upon it. So I'm also very excited. Explain, please.
Yeah, so uWolf is a port of Liberal Wolf by Chromium OS Guy. So thanks Chromium OS Guy for bringing this app to Ubuntu Touch. And basically, it's another browser based on Liberal Wolf, and I think it's I don't know the web engine that is behind it, but yeah. The guy who was active on the chat recently, trying to improve things, and he figured it out. So he sent a first alpha release on the OpenStore, and actually he released it the first time during the previous Q&A. So, but yeah, just
Nice.
after we went through this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's promising. I saw today Notkit, and he tried to use it on the Vola tablet, and there was some kind of issues, I think, if I remember correctly. But yeah, that's great to have a first release, so people can test it out and see that yeah, the browser situation is
Mm-hmm.
improving. At least people try to figure it out something, and
Yeah.
that's really
Perfect. Yeah.
a good news.
Yeah. A good choice of browsers can
Then we
never be
have
wrong.
yeah. Then we have a lot, not a lot, but we have some updated apps. So we have Delta Touch that has been updated. Delta Touch is, I mean, it's my favorite chat application, but sadly, no one
Really?
uses it. Yeah, this is great. This app uses the power of emails. This is a protocol that exists for a long time, and they enforce the use of encryption over emails to send quick messages with a short delay. And you
Hmm.
can send voicemails, you can send a picture, you can send text messages. Yeah, it's just convenient to have it with a notification pop-up and not the heavy email clients that
Yeah, yeah,
we are
yeah.
used to.
But your favorite messaging application should be teleports, to be honest. I'm a bit jealous now, yeah.
Teleport is the one I use mostly. I use
Thank
it
you.
all the time. But yeah, because of what Telegram is and the servers that are not open,
Yeah, sure,
Telegram
Norway.
is just, it's not perfect. Signal is great, but we don't have a great app. I use a bridge to connect it to Matrix using
Mm.
Cine, but
Mm-hmm.
it's still not a great experience. When I did some testing with Delta Touch, the experience was great. And I
Mm-hmm.
love the idea to just use very old, stable infrastructure, and it just works because we don't need more. Why reinvent to the wheel?
Mm-hmm.
So thanks Lotocutera for this app and this update. We had also Flow, which is a client for Deezer, the music application. So I don't remember who developed it.
Ah.
Sender. Oh yes. thank you, Sander,
Yeah.
for this app. So that's great to see having music apps, and yeah. The image composer was also updated recently. Yeah, so thanks, Matthias, for this. It allows you basically to take several pictures and make a collage with it. So
Oh, nice. Let's
yeah,
try this with
pretty
the
fun.
kids.
Could be a fun game for kids
Yes, yes.
and useful
Oh.
to just send a quick things without using too much bandwidth by sending all the image in full res.
Hmm.
Then the camera app and the weather app has been also updated, as well as a web app for GIS forecast, which is a meteo weather application. I think in Russia, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's gisforecast.ru. Yeah, gismeteo.ru. So thanks, Vlad, for this. This is great to see that people, just keep using it everywhere. Ubuntu port, which is a very specific thing.
What is this?
This is also a web
Video
app.
supported. Okay.
Yeah, this is it's a YouTube front end for Invidius. Or Invidius is a YouTube front end, and Ubijuice is a web app to access it.
So it's a front end for a front end.
Basically, I would say that. I don't use YouTube on my phone or video, so I never tested it. But
It sounds cool. No matter what it is, we don't know how it works, but it sounds cool.
yeah, and
Ubdius port. I cannot
so
even
the same
pronounce it.
Chromium OS
Ubdius.
guy that brought
Yeah.
that brought also which was the name of the app?
Uwolf.
Uwolf. And we have also the time management app, which is I think it's for Odoo's thing. I think, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's a productivity application. Yes, it connects to Odoo servers to sync timesheets. So that's good to have really what I will say company-oriented stuff because company relies on mostly Microsoft.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Google. And if we have alternate things and alternate phones that work with it, then it will be perfect.
Yeah. Just one word, because we also use Odoo in the foundation. Odoo is basically a CRM and ERP tool. Yeah, so enterprise resource planning and customer relationship management, and that of course is a great thing for small businesses. But if there are mobile apps that interface with it, it's even more perfect, because so far Odoo, of course, does not know about Ubuntu Touch and doesn't have anything besides the web browser stuff. But yeah, great.
Yeah, so that sums it up for the applications that are updated and new on the OpenStore. So if you're interested in one of them, go check them out and try them out, and give feedback on the GitLab page or GitHub if you find some issue. It's often appreciated by the developers. I know I appreciated when I had feedback, so
yes,
always good
give
to
feedback,
see that.
Feedback.
Yeah.
And give feedback, and of course, better become a developer and join and fix the bugs that you find yourself, and make a pull request or a merge request, and we can take it over. Yeah, super.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a comment that I do quite frequently nowadays. I realize that when people come to the forum or on the chat and ask for this and say, okay, I will wait for it to be fixed. I say, yeah, try to just make a switch in your mind and say, okay, this is a community project. So how can I help? If you take actions, it's always better. So if you are just shouting in the chat that, okay, this feature is not working, then it won't help because the developer maybe didn't see the message because it will be up on the list and the person will just scroll past it and not notice it. So it's better to say, okay, I will take the time to put an issue on GitLab and maybe it will be fixed. And if someday I learn some skills about development and I can maybe try to help or at least try to debug the things and say, okay, this is a scenario to reproduce it. So yeah, it's always better to act and try to be constructive about it. So not just passive. You're not a passive customer. You're not just watching TV. You're part of the community as well as a user. So please
Absolutely.
be a huge part of it and take action.
Good.
And while we are talking about the community, we can talk about our sponsors as well.
Oh yes, please do.
Yeah, let's try to find. So thanks to our sponsors. Without them, we are just a bunch of guys that wants to make a better world. So thanks to Smooth, Vola, Pine64, Weinstein, DigitalOcean, Netlify, Odoo, Community Association, Private Internet Access, Garner, and Associate Consulting, Tixia, GitLab, Cloudrun, Codelutin, Gandhi.net, and Brax Technologies, that is our more recent partner.
Cool.
Yeah, you allow us with means or money to keep up and continue to support the community developing Ubuntu Touch. So thank you a lot. And we also have a lot of patrons, individuals like you and me that just donate maybe a couple of bucks a week, but it matters. And so this time I don't have the 5 random that I like to give a shout out because I didn't have the time to prepare, honestly. But this is a list of the regular contributors. So thank you a lot because your contribution means a lot. A. Seal, Adam Avelka, Conspy, Daniel Franchak, Heather Hellworth, Jose Angel Escura, JT, Caleb Clark, Kenneth Drew, Luigi311, Marty McFly Jr., Michael Kellner, Mr. T10001, Omegus, Pavel Arnost, PK, Robin Hood, Randarius, Spendiahose. So yeah, thank you all for your continuous support.
And do you know what Spendierhose means in German actually when I literally translate it?
No.
It means basically donation trousers. Donation trousers. Spendierhose.
He has deep pockets, I mean.
Yes, the idea, there's a saying basically about if you go out on a night and you're gonna pay all the rounds for your friends, somebody will say, "Oh, today you have the donation trousers with you." Yeah, so that's why it's coming from.
Okay.
So yeah, I like this username very much. So I can quote the good old Dalton on this. If you want us to mispronounce your name on a live stream next time, just become a patron and donate, and then we mention your name, and probably if you choose a very weird username for that donation, we will be unable to pronounce it correctly, and it will be quite some fun. Yeah. So that's always the shout out.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
thank
I
you.
also like to quote Moom that says that you can also head to the shop and buy some merch. And as you say, it won't make us rich, but it might make us famous one day. So yeah, today I'm wearing a t-shirt that is a special edition that was made for the UTD, which is the Ubuntu Touchdown. This is an event that we try to organize for the community to gather and try to plan for the future to improve how we work as a community. And yeah, so if you're a visitor valued contributor, or if you want to participate, you can also reach out and say, yeah, how can I help? Or I tried to do this. I need a bit of help to push it over the limit and make it a reality. And that's always appreciated. So thanks a lot for your support, everyone.
Thank you very much.
And now we can go to the question from the forum.
Questions. Yes, I love questions. I cannot answer all the questions, almost none probably, but I can talk about how I would answer them if I would know it, maybe. Yes, let's start. I already saw before there was a few questions from the live stream. I would say let's go first for the ones that were filed before from our forum and stuff. And then we add the ones from stream.
The first one is from SAP. So they ask, hello, everybody. Thank you for your time and dedication. I would like to know what's still missing for Noble to be considered, let's say, release candidate. Cheers. So basically not a lot. I think it's just a mindset that we have to decide at one point to, okay, I think it's time. We just have to push it. Recently, I had noticed that the proximity sensor didn't work, but I noticed also it's working from time to time. So yeah, so there are bugs. We need, yeah, it's not ready for stable, but for an RC, maybe.
I don't want to bother you too much, but the proximity sensor was a problem since ever when we moved to the Halium 9 base, actually. And the reason for that is, as far as I remember, so problem is, I grabbed just now a random phone. It's actually not a supported thing. It's a Pixel 1 at the moment. It has actually a Xenial port for myself. If you put the phone on your ear, then this will work. So the screen would blank. However, if you would have the phone in your pocket and you receive a notification, the screen will turn on because in the pocket the proximity did not work. And that was working on the very old ports, on the initial ports from Canonical. This was working very well. And I was complaining, I was annoyed by this thing because I'm wearing the phone always in my pocket. And every time I receive a notification, the screen turns on, and then because when I move, it starts to do stuff on my screen. And the easiest thing what it can do is it enters flight mode. So this is very annoying. You don't realize that you are in flight mode for maybe 2 or 3 hours when you don't take out your phone, or you just put it on the table or somewhere. I don't check this every now and then, because basically the proximity was not preventing that the screen turned on and registered movements, fake movements on the screen. So why this is happening is because the sensor framework that we are using does not evaluate the initial state of proximity. It evaluates only a change. So when the phone rings, the proximity is far. You put it on your ear, then it goes to near, and then you get a change in the sensor, and that's being correctly registered. If it's already near and it stays like this, the sensor framework will deliver far because it does not do an initial read to get the correct sensor status. It assumes that it is far. We were never able to fix this from Halium 9 up to now reliable. Now, if you say the proximity has issues, I fear in Noble it's even worse.
But at least that might be it.
It was in Xenial like this, and since then in Focal was the same. And for people that still have frequent phone calls and frequent messaging incoming, it's really painful. Except that you don't have the phone in your pocket, of course. Then everything is fine.
All right.
Good, but still, okay. I think Noble is a very
Noble
is a very big step forward in our stack of technology. We're really happy that this moves along so nicely now.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think it should be released more widely, maybe as an RC, but to app developers, because nowadays it's just the compatibility with some apps and major apps has been broken. For example, the document viewer, which is really important. So we need to have app developers to use Noble. And so if you don't have a mean to have Noble, please reach out to us so we can try to figure out a way for you to update your app to be Noble ready and to test it out on Noble. We will try to find a solution for this.
And I guess that is also applicable to teleports, so I need to get a Noble build going. Plus, unfortunately, it could mean that we have to drop the Xenol support for teleport soon, because I think we cannot support 3 major versions in parallel. That will be interesting choice. But yeah, as time goes by, we have to do sometimes those decisions. Because it was not so complicated.
The most annoying.
Yeah,
for teleports, the most annoying thing is the lack of notifications. Sometimes I have them, but rarely. I don't know if it's a system thing or if it's a teleport thing. But yeah, of course.
Let's talk about this later. I can give you some hints, maybe.
Great. So let's go to the next question.
Yes. Sorry.
Next question is from Wally. Wally asks, has anybody heard anything from the Fury Labs, the Fury Phone people? In March, they said that a port for their phone might soon appear in the UBPOS installer. And they also ask news on the Brax3 port. So I can deliver news on the Brax3 phone for starter. So Brax3 has hired another developer quite recently, and they are still ongoing on the port. And once they will have something important or an achievement, they will probably join us on the Q&A to drop the news themselves to you, to us, our community. So yeah, they are highly motivated to bring Ubuntu Touch on the Brax3 phone. So it's still ongoing, of course. They had some issues with deliveries. That was their top priority. So they worked also on priority 1 on the Android ports. And now that the device is shipping, they shift their focus to Ubuntu Touch. So that's good news. And hopefully in the coming weeks, we will have some news. Maybe not next Q&A, but soonish, I will say. Maybe this summer. Let's say this summer. I'm sure this summer we will have some good news from them. About the Fury Labs, I don't have news, but if it involves the UBPOS installer, maybe you had some information, Florian?
No, absolutely not. I'm sorry. I heard about it the first time now. So if there is anybody on the live stream that can enlighten us, please do so. We can just say we know from the past that expected timelines in our projects often don't hold. It's about good intentions, but not so much about good and reliable or dependable planning of release dates and stuff. And in general, that's also why we never communicated precise release dates and said, okay, we have to push it out at this day or at this hour, because it stresses everyone. It's also not really necessary. So yeah, they say it might soon appear. That sounds like, yeah, there is a small chance that it will happen soon, but give them more time. If it's a good port, it also needs a good measure of time. But cool that there are such things still happening, and we are having direct connections with device people. That's always nice.
Yeah, that's something really important to have manufacturers to talk to us, to be able to develop ports for Ubuntu Touch, and maybe give us also some feedback, or if they see that their customers complain about one feature or one issue, they can also contribute some developer time to improve on this or that. Like Vola announced about the AGPS thing. So yeah, they have been working on it primarily for their customers. Of course, that's normal. They have a business to run. But if we can benefit from them, that's great deal for us. So, and
Exactly,
hopefully more and more company will join this effort.
Oh, super. Thanks for the question. And we cannot talk about the RCS much. I just can say that RCS messaging for Ubuntu Touch would be great. I don't know anything about open standards. But
sadly, Marius couldn't join. But we
I
will keep this question for Marius for the next time.
For the next Marius, for the future Marius, we will keep it. As we said before, we can keep the question for next Q&A unless we forget to keep it. Yeah, so.
Yeah, so that's good also that you reminded us. So
great,
thanks Wally for the questions. And we have also a bunch of questions from Captain Funk.
4 questions. Okay.
Yeah. So first thanks to everyone who works on this amazing OS. A few questions. So the last OTA 9 release brought RAID 1.5.1 containing initial support for upcoming official Android 13 images. Do you know when those images will be released? And do you know if it will be easily upgradable from current RAID without needing a full reinstall? Actually, I don't know. I don't use RAID, and so honestly, I don't keep a good track of what happens on these projects.
Yeah. Let's be surprised.
That's the easiest thing. Yeah. So the second question is, the current GPS is only working on rare occasion for me. Maybe others have the same problem. Does the team plan to change the implementation or change the way the GPS is working in the future? I've heard about AGPS being much more functional, maybe. So yeah, you heard right. Vola was working on AGPS, and it seems to be really device oriented. So depending on your device, AGPS might just work. And what I heard from Vola was that they are linking the Android stack and using Android to solve the AGPS thing. So it's not for all devices because, for example, the bind phones cannot use that. But that's an idea, and hopefully we'll find a solution for everything. But yeah, it's still a bit complicated, and also GPS depends a lot on your geolocalization. In my experience, I'm very fortunate, and I didn't have many issues with GPS. I put my phone on the dashboard, and because I use it mostly when I'm driving, and after like 5 minutes, I have a fix, and my GPS is just working. So yeah, no big issues on this front. And even on Noble, it works fine with UNAV. Pure Maps is not yet ported to Noble, so but with UNAV, it works properly. There are some crashes. I don't say it. UNAV is perfect on Noble, but at least the GPS fixes were working fine.
Good. I just want to add that AGPS is something that is a real discrepancy to Android and iOS, of course. And I also don't want to start now talking about VoLTE, but I'm becoming more and more stressed out with my provider switching off 3G. basically soonish. So I still need to receive phone calls from time to time. It's just not simple possible to say, okay, I can continue without that. So there's a lot of push here that we can add those functionalities that would make us more similar to the bigger operating system, but also because we are forced by the technological developments. There is no way around the fact that all the providers will try to switch off the old infrastructure, because for them it's already pure legacy now. Then
And
I can take the next one also. No, I cannot. You take the next
yeah.
one.
Just to add on the VLT thing, someone shared a link to just identify the working devices or the devices with enabled VLT. So maybe I can find it and share it during the next Q&A, because I don't seem to find it right now. I'm not organized. What should I say? Sorry. There is a way with GitLab to find the devices with an update with VLT enabled. This link includes the Pixel 3a, which we know that Alfred started to try to do something and stopped because he was unable to test it with his phone provider. So basically, he stopped, and he will provide help for people if people want to tackle this issue with the Pixel 3a. But VLT is not
the stars
on this list right now.
I think the stars on the devices need to be a bit revised. I can understand this. We need to more actively maintain the devices page anyways, I guess. So thanks for the feedback. I can take the next one if you like.
For the next,
because now I'm a legacy guy here as well. Because the deco thing is something that resonates with me quite a lot. So when we started, when Canonical started to have Ubuntu Touch developed, they already saw that they would need an email client. And there was a collaboration with the developer of Deco, I think, I hope I'm not lying, to bring that email client into Ubuntu Touch. But it was not added as a core app, which felt a bit strange back then, because as a core app, it would have been, of course, a first-class citizen, and I guess it would have received more development and more attention. Deco is a great thing. It still has some flaws that are also bugging some users, like it could drain your battery if you don't have any network connection. Or if you have, but it cannot reach the server. It's something like you're in an isolated Wi-Fi that cannot access the internet, then polling your mailboxes can go crazy. This is just what I remember from the latest state. There is one thing so it doesn't support OAuth, yes, of course, and that's not very nice. And also here, technology is changing. We need to think about how we can actually keep up with technological developments around email. Is this something that will be implemented? So I can just say, please, first of all, try to open a feature request for this. And secondly, unfortunately, the developer base for Deco is not so great. I have no clue. There's an underlying library for managing the mailboxes, and probably that one would need to implement OAuth. So Deco and the front end, this is basically wrapping a standard component to talk POP3 and IMAP. But it's a very good suggestion, and I would say it's also necessary to follow up on this a bit, because a lot of people still rely on mobile email. And I remember the FOSDEM for, what was it, 2 years ago or 3 already, enlighten me. Was it the one where we were having the live Q&A maybe from the FOSDEM cafeteria?
Yeah, so
Because if you remember on that we had the booth, right? I was there 24/7 and my legs were hurting a lot because I was just showing devices to people and selling merch with Moom. And then we went over to cafeteria to have the Q&A. I think it was that one. On that
3 years ago.
on that FOSDEM, we were talking actually with the Thunderbird guys, because Thunderbird back then said, look, we have now a Thunderbird mobile. It's called K9 for Android. And I said, super interesting. We should hop on that bus and try to port that thing to Ubuntu Touch. And there were initial talks, but then this also dried out a bit. It's very unfortunate, because sometimes when you don't start initially to work really on a project, you have a lot of communications and talking what if, and we have great plans and everything is super nice, but then there is no traction. What I wanted to show is that this is an Android device here. Oh my God, I cannot see my own camera picture here so well. This is K9, and it's basically a little bit like Deco. I like it because it has similar concept of how that stuff works. It's a very simple, you can see list of emails. So I would guess that's kind of like in Deco. You can create some mailboxes, so you can have multiple mailboxes on there, and I can switch between them and so on and so on. And it's super simple to use. You just set up the account, enter the data, it starts syncing your mails. It reminds me a ton of the features of Deco. And I was just thinking, maybe we should start, again, an interest group here, look into the code of K9. The Thunderbird guys would probably help a lot if they have time, because they promised back then to be open for a port like that. And it would have a very modern code base, and it would have also modern authentication protocols, probably. I think that would be a way we should explore. So if we find out that Deco is kind of in a dead end and we cannot really improve the code base, and it uses, how to say, there is a library used in Deco that is not easy to program with, and not all the people want to do this, and having something like alternative base where a lot of problems are already solved because it's used in a widely used Android app, that could be cool. I don't know if it's possible because it's probably 100% Android. So it's Java and all of this blah, blah, blah. But let's try this out. So if there's somebody interested in working on email client, porting K9 to Ubuntu Touch, that would be cool. And if really somebody is really interested, just ping me on Telegram. You will find my name. So that's the thing for Deco. We should not run over the time. I'm just trying to close my ramblings here. Next question.
Yeah, I will. So the last question from Captain Funk is about the stars that appears on the device page. So let me share my screen. And so yeah, basically here you find close to some devices a star. If you go to the ubipost.com website and you go to device, there's a category that is called promoted. And these are the phones that are promoted. And when you land on the promoted page, you will see, okay, we have the Vola devices, the Vola 22, the Quintus, and the Vola tablet, which are starred. So Vola 22, Vola Quintus, Vola tablet. We have also the Pixel 3a and 3a XL. We have the Poco X3, which are community-based ports that are promoted because of the quality of the port. These one were heavily supported by the community and well-renowned. So that's why we promote them this way. And of course, we have the Pine devices. the Fairphone devices because we partner with them, and the Vola devices because we partner with them also. So yeah, we have the partnerships that are promoted and a couple of community-based ports. So this explains the stars. Yeah, this is what we recommend because we have some kind of insights.
And also, the recommendation idea was about we should recommend devices that you can still buy as new or you can buy in bigger numbers. Yeah. So if you think about FF14, FF15, this is something that you can buy in official store, Vodafone and so on, for people that really don't want to have a used phone, an aftermarket phone that might expose some problems. I had a few of those here for porting issues. Where is the Pixel 2 XL? I think this one. It had a broken screen. It was very cheap, but it's completely unusable for daily driving because the screen just blanks out after some minutes. Yeah? And I think that's the thing. We need to indicate a little bit what are the devices that somebody would go for that doesn't want to have any issues. It's just a no problemo device. Yeah? So that's also part of these stars. Yeah? To reflect, okay, this one is really supported on a different level. Then you have to go to some phone shop, shady phone shop around the corner, skim through devices they have and say, oh, fine, I found a Pixel 3a. And then you turn it on and there's a small cloud of black smoke and they say, okay, I had a Pixel 3a. Yeah. So it's always an adventure to take a used phone and try to flash it and see what happens and see the quality of the battery and stuff like this. Yeah. Yep.
I'll take quickly late questions that appeared on the forum. Hopefully I checked today. This one is from, what's his name? Janesk. And Janesk is a developer. He's a developer of Night Invasion, which is a real-time multiplayer game written in Python. So basically, his question is about what it takes to port his game to Ubuntu Touch. And so the quick answer would be to include all the dependency into the click package. So if you need to have your libraries, or if you depend on a certain version of, you mentioned a typical version of Python, and maybe this is not the version we embed in Ubuntu Touch, then you can also embed it separately in your own app and then use those local libraries. So it will be local to your app, and you will, of course, the application will be heavier, but at least it will work.
Yeah. And also the libraries that I mentioned, this pygame.mixer, I think you can include this perfectly fine with the click package. And that's also the idea that the apps should be as much as possible independent from the operating system, because you then have less pain of upgrading. And we already have the big disadvantage that the apps need to be rebuilt once for every new major release of Ubuntu. And that's not the case for Android apps, because they are more like backwards compatible for a few major versions. That means they have to maintain, of course, all the interfaces in a backwards compatible way. But for us, because we are not running with Java apps that are basically independent of the binary platform of the device, our apps, especially when you have a game, maybe for Python it would actually work. I'm just thinking maybe it would work that you transfer it to a major new release of Ubuntu with Ubuntu Touch without any issues, because it's Python. It's an interpreted language kind of, yeah. So it's not so much depending on the binary compatibility. Like teleports, for example, is C++, and we have to rebuild it every time. Yeah. So for that's why I said I need to make a noble build for teleports, because the focal one is not compatible. Yeah. But we would appreciate if you just try out, package as much as you can. Okay, maybe it's 100 megabytes of click package. It's perfectly fine. Devices have a lot of gigabytes these days. And it sounds like a cool game. Please, as soon as you have a test for that game. Put it into our QA group. We have always testers that are keen on testing new stuff. Put it in the app developers group. On both can be found on Telegram. There's probably some links circling around. And don't get us wrong,
Yeah,
Telegram
and
was chosen in the beginning mainly because of the widespread availability and the widespread acceptance. We are not fanboys of Telegram per se, but we just we leverage the easiness on each platform to have
user
access to
base.
those channels, the user base also. Yeah, so
Yeah.
good.
And and there's the developer channel on UBports
Yes.
on Telegram that you can
I
ask a
think we
question
have.
if you're stuck. And to finish, because I see a lot of questions in the chat about VOLT, let's just give a last thing on this front.
Volten, please.
VOLT
No.
is
Okay.
just quickly.
Yes.
VOLT is now enabled for Qualcomm devices and MediaTek devices. So there are plugins that can be added to the port. So the porter needs to enable this, and then hopefully try to debug what went wrong. Hopefully everything went well according to plan, but you know how it goes. So it's device dependent. It will be on a port-to-port basis. It depends on the porter maintainer of the port to try to implement VOLT. So there are more and more devices supported. And I promise I will share the link next time for you to see the devices that have at least tried to port VOLT to their device. And so currently there are some devices with VOLT enabled. Of course, you will need to be on Devil because it's not on the. Maybe some devices are using it on OTA 9, but I'm not sure. No promise on this. But on Devil, sure, some devices support it, and some of them are pretty usable right now. So yeah, there are news, and but it depends on the developers.
Okay, one thing we forgot before, because Jan had another question in your live chat. I have to jump back to the gaming question. Sorry. He asked if it can be made closed source. Basically, you can do this. You can distribute it in a way that you want. I don't see a major issue with that, unless you're using certain open source libraries. You have to look on the licenses, of course. So it really depends on what stuff you're using to build your app. And nobody can prevent you to build a click package and put it on your webpage to say, okay, here's the version for Ubuntu Touch. You can download it and install it. The other question is, would we publish a closed source application in the OpenStore? And I'm not sure about this because it's called OpenStore, and then we have closed source applications. Maybe the majority of people would say, nah, we don't like it like this. That's something that I don't want to commit to. But having a closed source application on any operating system is not a big deal. It's not something that is completely prevented or you shouldn't do it. I mean, there is. We had what was this app actually? What was closed source in the beginning? We had one thing for suppressing phone calls on Ubuntu Touch, and it was an app you had to pay for, and you got a license code or something like this. This was already kind of closed source because you just had the binary and you could install it and then put inside the code and stuff like this. There are not many examples of it, but as I said, the one thing is you can build your app in closed source. The other thing is how you distribute it. It might not be always possible to do it in the way you want. If the open source accepts it, I don't know the current policy and licensing that you would have to deal with the OpenStore guys. The other thing is
for still possible on the OpenStore.
Yeah, I think it's impossible. Another
No, it's
note on Volte.
possible.
We are running over time. It's possible? Okay. I didn't understand you.
I think so. It just needs a manual review of the applications to check that it's not a malware.
Okay,
I think that's the current policy.
We will find out about this. Volte is an everlasting topic. I think we could spend another hour now talking about Volte. To answer precisely that question, when the Volte phone will be available in US, as Apple already said, it's very device dependent. You need a device that has a good Volte support. And you cannot find out now because it's still in a devel stage where you have to do manual steps to add all of these things to the port, blah, blah, blah. Well, I think we should put a category on the OpenStore for Volte. So as soon as a port is stable enough, mature enough with Volte enabled, there will be a category, and maybe we put another triangle to the star to say, okay, all the triangled phones are the ones with Volte. I don't know. We don't use star.
Yeah, that's an idea.
But, you have to be creative here. We feel the pain of US users. We're really sorry that it dragged on for so long time. But Volte, if you look, even in Android phones, it's not easy to get every phone to use Volte. I have tried this one here that I showed before. My God, where is my stack of phones? Where did I lose my phone? Here. That's a Shift phone, 6MQ. And there's an Android on this now. And it should, in theory, work very well with Volte. And I tried with my provider, and it's not working. It's super not possible to find out what's the reason. So it needs to be a strong agreement between the vendor of the phone, Android, and the carrier that Volte can be enabled. And if one of the smaller parts is not 100% aligned, it just doesn't do it. And you can do nothing about it. You can just buy a new phone. So Volte is a problem already on the Android side, on the big tech devices, and it's super hard for us. And so I'm really, really interested to see how the Volte support evolved in the last year or two, because I didn't follow on that. But I must say, it's super exciting. If we get that one fixed, we could again have the user base increasing quite a lot, I think. So installer, Volte, and HTTPS. That's the thing that we take from today's Q&A. Let's do our best to get it forward. All right, guys, we are running over time a lot already. I think that was a great one. I didn't think in the beginning we can fill the hour, but we did much more than that. Super awesome. It was so nice being here again for a Q&A. And as always, when I said I will be back from now and then, I'll keep the promise, and I'll be around again when there are super awesome news from the new installer or something like this. Latest. Or maybe when Teleports has some new
It's always nice to have you.
Yeah. Thanks. We are actually preparing a Teleports release for quite some time. And guess, believe it or not, it will have a search function. You can search for your chats and you will find messages and you can jump to them. It's super cool because it's, again, a thing that makes us much more useful. So when this Teleports release lands on the servers, then I will be back in the next Q&A. I promise.
Great.
Okay.
Hopefully,
thanks, guys.
Soon.
It's titled Q&A and not Q&A. Huh? Firefly, I don't get your question. Okay, guys, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Apple, see you next time.
Yeah.
And then
it was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for joining.
As always.
And
have a good night, everyone.
We will see you on the next one.
Bye.